Hey, good morning. Happy post-open workout. Whose biceps are sore? A little bit, yeah. Whose triceps? Yes. Legs? Or are we feeling pretty good? Okay, feeling pretty good. This is the great thing about this year's open workout. It was really fun, but not too bad, right? So we will do some things to kind of stretch out some of the front of the arms, the chest, but go through an easy, stretchy flow to help you guys recover and get ready for this following week. So let's just find a comfortable seat. So maybe that's seated on the shins, cross leg. We can go straddle, just anything that's a comfortable seat where you can sit up tall. Hands can kind of go anywhere that's comfortable. Let the shoulders just drop down the back and let that spine just kind of lengthen a little so that chest is sitting upright and proud. And close the eyes. Just gently let the lips close so that the breath is flowing through the nose. And for these first few cycles of breathing, you're just noticing it. There's no controlling it. You're not trying to make it a certain length. You're just letting the breathing be, but just through the nose. So a couple of cycles here. Keeping the breath still smooth and without too much force. You're gonna just kind of put your focus to your tailbone, okay? And now look, I know you can't breathe into your tailbone. That doesn't sound normal. However, what I want you to do is on your inhale, think about your tailbone and try to imagine that breath is starting at the tailbone and ending at the top of the head. So that inhale, think about the tailbone and inhale all the way until you feel that inhale hit the top of the head nice and long. And then through the nose, the way you came. So from the top of the head, all the way down to the tailbone. And again, let's breathe from the pit of the belly. Big breath all the way to the top of the head. Exhaling from the top of the head all the way down to the pit of the belly. And going through a few more cycles like that, where that breath is just really long and you're feeling your spine lift and lengthen. And just kind of soften as you exhale. Just 2 more cycles. And then throughout the stretches today, and as we move, think about this bigger breath and that breath that kind of starts at the base of the belly and goes all the way up. So you can help keep that breath long, smooth, and relaxed. And then from here, keeping that breath just flowing, you gently open the eyes. We're going to come into our first stretch. I like everybody to come into a cross-leg position. Doesn't matter to me yet which leg is in front, but we just want to have the legs lined up so that the front shin is kind of parallel to the front of the mat. So a little bit out in front with the feet, okay? And then from here, we're going to go ahead and place your right hand behind your back and your left hand on your right knee. We'll sit up a little taller, and then we'll just gently press into that right knee to help us twist. You can gently look over that right shoulder, sit up tall, and rotate. Exhale to bring you through center. Then we'll go to the other side. So right hand to left knee, Left hand behind, sit up tall and gently twist, pushing against that left knee for a little leverage. And exhale to release and come through center. Okay. And then next inhale, reach the arms all the way up, really, really long. And then exhale, gently bow forward, hands just softly relax to the floor. Head drops, relax the spine, kind of round into this position. Breathing into that stretch in the outer hips. Continuing that breath from the base of the belly, the tailbone, all the way to the top of the head and back down. Next inhale, walking the hands back, sitting up tall, and then we'll switch the cross of the legs. This one might feel a little odd. Okay. Again, those feet are kind of pushed out in front a little bit more. Next inhale, reach the arms up, reach a little more to the ceiling, and exhale, gently bow, relax the spine round, let the head drop. And next inhale, walk the hands back, sit up tall, and keep the cross as it is. You're going to go right hand to the side. You're going to go left arm up. Okay. Left arm is going to lift. We're going to lean over towards that right side, and you're going to feel this left side body stretch. So really anchor that left hip down, and then reach away with those left fingertips. We pull that stretch up a little bit more towards the armpit. And inhale, brings you back up. Release the hand down. Left hand to the floor, right arm up. Lift a little bit longer through that spine, and then exhale, lean. Anchor the right hip down and reach through those right fingertips. Good. And inhale to bring you up. Okay. So you guys stay where you are. I'm just going to move so that you can see me from the side. So we're going to uncross the feet, or uncross the legs and put the feet flat on the floor. And we're going to come into a couple rounds of reverse tabletop, kind of stretch out the chest and the biceps. So we're going to go hands behind us. Fingers are going to point forward. Okay. And we'll go squeeze the shoulder blades together and lift. And we can also kind of go into this position if our wrists are feeling a little tight today. So here we go, straighten the arms, open the chest. Maybe you're feeling a stretch here. If not, scoot your hips forward just a little bit for this first one. Good, scoot the hips back and exhale to release. That was the first one. Each time we're going to get a little bit higher in position. Okay, again, hands behind. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Proud chest, and now if we've got that little extra space, we can lift the hips. And exhale, release, shake it out. And then the next one, we're going to lift the hips, and then we'll shift the weight forward for the last kind of biggest position here. So again, straighten the arms. Squeeze the shoulder blades as we open the chest, lift the hips, and then if you want more, we shift the weight forward towards our toes and feel the shoulders open up more. Breathe. And exhale to release. Good. All right, shake it out. Okay, let's rock on to the hands and knees. We'll go through a couple rounds of cat-cow. And so with the hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. We've got 3 sets of just classic cat-cow. So we'll drop the belly down. We'll lift the chest to arch. And then on your exhale, you'll round, push the floor away, tuck the chin towards the chest. Good. Next, inhale, belly drops. Lift the chest. And exhale to round. One more cycle like this. Belly drops. And round. And then a couple more where you're just kind of moving as you want. So you can move the hips side to side. You can do that in your arch. Just anything that feels good here. You can make some circles. Good. All right. And then let's find a neutral position with the spine. We're going to go into a quick downward facing dog. So tuck in the toes. We're going to lift the hips and we'll just pedal out those heels a little bit. So drawing one heel down, bending the opposite knee. We're just going to go back and forth. And then taking that awareness towards the tailbone, lift the hips up a little higher. You feel more length through the backs of the legs. Good. And on your next exhale, we're just going to gently draw the heels down as much as we can and walk the hands back towards the toes to come into a fold. Okay. And the feet are at about mat's distance. Okay. And we'll just create a soft bend in the knees, just very, very slight bend in the knees to allow that torso to hang. Grab the elbows. We can just rock side to side. Creating a little bit of traction here by letting the torso get heavy. And as we sway, you can kind of shake your head yes and no. Good. And then just gently unlock those hands and we're going to round all the way up into a standing position. Easy. Good. Okay, so you guys have a band near you. Let's go ahead and grab that. We're going to do some pass-throughs. So we'll do 10. You can start really wide on the band. And just like we would normally do in class, but the focus on this today is trying to get those biceps a little bit more length. And to do that, you can kind of roll the biceps up towards the ceiling as you go through your pass-through. You can also try rolling them forward. So, orienting your biceps in a way it gives you that little extra stretch. You got 10 total. Good. And then when you've gotten your 10, we'll go 3 around the world on each side. And the difference between the pass-through and the around the world is we're going to go to the side a little bit more. We're going to get through that side body stretch. So kind of pushing off to the side and then letting it kind of come around. And then push off to the side, straight arms, maybe a little lean. 3 each way. And then when you've done those 3 on each side, you can just kind of put that band off to the side. And we're going to come back into downward facing dog. So going to the back of the mat here. And just an easy kind of like inchworm-like crawl to downward facing dog. Good. And then from here, on your inhale, you're going to step your right foot forward between the hands. And then you'll bring your back knee down. Okay. All right. And so your feet between the hands. From here, we're just letting the hips kind of sink down a little bit. If you're not feeling a stretch through the front of the left thigh, like the left hip crease, then, we can drop a little bit more by bringing that right elbow inside the knee. But if you're feeling a stretch here, just hang out and just enjoy. On your next inhale, bring your torso up. Keep those hips kind of softening down. We're not pushing up to the ground. We're just letting, as you relax and release a little bit of tension, things just soften easier to the ground. Okay. And then the left arm is going to reach up. So pull yourself back out of it just a little bit. Create a little more length through the spine, and then over to the right. Good. Exhale. Brings your hand down. And then we're going to walk this right foot over to the right so that it's now lined up at the edge of the mat. And we'll bring the hands inside the feet now. And here, that right knee can just fall over to the right. And you'll feel already some stretch in the front and the back of the hip. If you've got the space, go ahead and drop it down. Breathing from the tailbone to the top of the head, nice and long breaths. Good. And next inhale, just go ahead and come on up. And just bring that right foot back behind. We're going to go back into downward facing dog, but you can give yourself a couple cat-cow wiggles to reset if that feels good. And then from here, we go back into that down dog. You just pedal out the feet again. Just find some movement. And then from here, on your inhale, you're going to step your left foot forward between the hands and then bring the back knee down. Okay. You can keep the hands kind of on the floor as the hips relax to the ground if this feels like enough. But if not, you can always just pop that left elbow inside the left knee for a little bit as you drop the chest down. And next inhale, bring the torso up. And feel that kind of softness through the front before we go into the overhead stretch. And then from here, just pull back a little bit. Right arm will lift, chest will lift, and then we lean to the left. Good. On your exhale, hands can come down now inside that front foot as you shimmy your left foot over to the left edge of the mat. Okay, before you drop your elbows down, left knee just falls over, and you'll feel kind of the outer edge of the left foot press into the floor. And then maybe you've got the space to come down to the forearms. And breathing here, just trying to relax, ease in. Next, inhale onto the hands. We'll kind of make our way to hands and knees for a quick reset. Cat-cow, wiggle the hips. And now let's go back into down dog for a quick reset. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Okay, and then we're going to step this right foot forward back between the hands and then bring the back knee down. This time we're coming into half split. So we'll take the hips and push back. Okay. Now from here, you might need to wiggle that right heel forward a little bit and then curl those right toes up towards the ceiling. You might find that we need to be up on pretty high, and so we can be here if we feel like the hamstrings is good enough stretch. We can go to the shin. We can go fingertips to the floor. Okay. But this flexed foot's really going to help get that stretch in the meat of the calf and even into the meat of the hamstrings. And to feel how we can always intensify these things without really changing this position, what I want you to do here is inhale and lift your chest up, just almost like you're arching your back a little bit. Send this tailbone back behind you. Did you feel how that lengthened all of that in the upper part of the hamstrings? Yeah. Good. Good. And on your exhale, we're just going to sit down inside of this front foot. So as you sit down, we're going to put our bottom inside this left heel. So the left heel is tight to the body. Right leg is out in front. Okay, so your knees are kind of close together to start. Okay, so yeah, little like hurdle position. So hands are going to go behind you. And we're going to start just by kind of leaning back. You may feel a stretch in the front of the thigh. You may not. This is just kind of prepping for the position we're going to get into where you will for sure feel it. Just hanging out. Good. And inhale, let's bring the torso up. And now we're going to stay in a similar position but make a change. So I'd like your knees to angle to 10 and 2. So this right leg will go out to 2 o'clock and this left knee will go out to 10 o'clock. So now it's almost like you're in a single leg straddle. Okay. Now from here, we're going to sit up tall. We're going forward. Oh, yeah. Let's go forward that way. Yeah. Yeah. This is a stretch, huh? You feeling an interesting internal deep rotation of that left hip, huh? Yeah. Good. And inhale. We'll bring you up. Okay. You're going to unwind this left leg and just kind of wiggle it out. Wiggle it out. Okay. And then we'll go back into down dog. We'll cross the legs. We'll just roll onto the hands and knees. We'll get into a quick down dog so that we can go back into that half split stretch now on the left side. So inhale to step your left foot forward. Right knee will come down. And then from here, we sit the hips back. We might need to wiggle this left heel forward a little bit. Curl the left toes to the shin. And then again, hands go wherever is helpful. And then before we move on, let's get a little bit of extra in this half split. So send that chest up and that tailbone back and feel the deeper stretch, maybe a little more high up in that hamstrings connection towards the more like where the glute is. All right, on your next exhale, we are going to sit down inside of this right foot now. And again, the knees are still pointing forward, so you're kind of in a tighter position. Okay. And then we're just going to go hands behind us for just a couple breaths. Again, you might not be feeling much of a stretch here, or you may. Just kind of a prep for what's coming. And just try to find that long breath from the pit of the belly to the top of the head and back down. All right, bringing yourself up now. We're going to go 10 and 2 with the knees. So think single leg straddle almost. Okay. Might be able to anchor this right hip down a little bit more. Okay. Sitting up tall. And now we lean forward. Ooh, I don't know about you, but this side it felt a little bit different. Yeah. Oh. Again, breathe. This is where that long breath is really helpful. Next inhale, slowly unwind and bring yourself out of that, back into that straddle. A little wiggle. And then from here, we're going to come into pigeon. So let's rock to the hands and knees. And give your hips a little wiggle. And then from this hands and knees position, we'll go straight into pigeon. So this right knee will start close to the right wrist. And then your right foot, it doesn't have to come far forward. The only thing we need to do is scoot your left leg back to help get you into that deep position. If your right butt cheek is really far off the ground and it's really hard to kind of relax here, then you can always just softly drop that hip and still get the same position without so much like holding pigeon. And I want you to find release and softness. And we'll just spend a couple moments here just breathing through that long breath, helping the hips relax, release. Spend a couple more breaths here in this position. So try to scoot your left leg back a little bit more. Maybe you drop the chest down more. The forehead can rest on closed fists. See if you can deepen this stretch for the last few breaths. Start to bring yourself out of this. And we're going to bring this left foot and left knee forward. Kind of similar to what we did in that hurdle stretch. So nice tight tuck of that heel to the butt. Then take your left hip and drop it down as you bring your right foot to the inner left thigh. It's not gonna, that left hip's not gonna actually touch, or it may. We're just trying to even out the hips a little bit. From here, hands go behind you. Okay. Again, you might not feel a big stretch, or there might be a lot happening in the front of this left thigh. You have a couple options. You can stay, you can draw down to the forearms. If you've got a lot of tension in the hip crease, you can take your thumb and start trying to massage out some of that tension, force some of the muscles to just release, and then you might have more space to lay back. Yeah, right? It's real. There's, yeah, junkie in there. Mm-hmm. Okay, inhale. Bring your torso up. Slowly. Rock to the hands and knees. A cat-cow wiggle to reset and just see how that side feels. And then we'll go second side. Left shin will come forward. So left knee to the left wrist. And now you scoot the right leg back to create a little more space. And then if you need less, you just roll onto the outer left hip. Or if you feel pretty good where you are, you just stay more focused on the balance on the shin. And just again, breathing through that long tailbone to top of the head pattern. So you focus there and not on the stretch. Focus on your breath. Couple more breaths. Try to scoot the back leg back, deep in the position. Maybe you fold more, lay flat, whatever it is. Last few breaths here. You just really deep into that pigeon stretch. All right, inhale, come onto the hands. We're going to swing this right knee forward. Bring this right foot close, long back foot, left foot to the inner right thigh. Take this right hip, drop it down a little bit, and then start with just placing the hands behind you. This side might feel same or different. Okay, so if this feels okay, we drop down more. If not, maybe you got to get into that hip crease and just massage out a little bit of that hip flexor tension or whatever you're feeling so that you have more room to lay back. Oh. Next inhale, gently come into a seat. And let's go hands and knees to wiggle and reset. All right. So next up, we're going to come into a toe stretch, and this can be pretty intense, so we'll ease into it and you go as far as you can. So you're going to tuck the toes and you're going to come into kind of like a crouch position. This way you can feel all 10 toes kind of spread out on the floor. We want as much pressure, that pinky toe's the tricky one. So we want as much pressure along all 10 toes, and then from here, we keep the toes tucked and we just drop the knees down back towards the floor. Maybe your fingertips need to stay where they are. Maybe we can come up a little bit higher. Oh gosh, I don't know about you guys, but my feet were burning during the open workout. And so this is a great way to stretch it out and actually just keep your feet healthy, because it's, the base of your support is the bottom of your feet. Okay. Ooh, a couple more breaths here. All right, exhale, release. Untuck your toes, give them a little wiggle. Maybe you got a little crack or two. Ooh. Okay, and then long feet now will come into seated position on the shins. So maybe you don't feel anything here, or maybe you have a stretch. If you've got a stretch in the tops of your feet in this position, you stay. If not, we can kind of lean back a little bit more. See if we can get a stretch, maybe through the tops of the feet, maybe the quads. And then if you want more, we can always come up a little higher with the knees off the ground so we can get that shin stretch and that top of the foot stretch. And exhale to release. Okay. And then from here, we'll just bring those feet around and slowly start making our way onto our backs. Okay, so from here, grab the knees and just slowly roll and kind of be intentional here. You're not going to feel every vertebrae, but if we imagine that we can kind of hit each one, just create as much round as you can all the way until your back goes flat on the floor and you can draw your knees into the chest. Now let's give the knees a squeeze and we rock side to side. Okay. And coming into happy baby. Okay. So knees go wide, elbows inside the knees, and then you're going to grab the outer edges of the feet. Okay. So similar to kind of like our bootstrapper position or squat and fold. And then we're going to take those hands and pull the feet down as they stack on top of the knees. And then take that tailbone and push it down to the floor so that spine gets super long. And then you can play around. We can straighten the legs at the same time or alternating. We can bring the feet a little bit more overhead. Oh. You can rock side to side. Good. And then releasing the hands, bring the knees into the chest, wrap the forearms around the knees and give them a squeeze. We'll be coming into our final stretch here, a reclined twist. So keep the right knee into the chest, left leg extends to the mat. First thing, scoot the hips over to the right so that as this right knee falls to the opposite side, you feel yourself roll onto the outer left hip more because you scooted the hips over. And then everything just gets heavy to the floor. The knee drops, the shoulder drops, and your breathing still is long through the nose. Good. Inhale to gently bring the knee through center. And we're going to switch sides. So reset your hips. Right leg goes straight on the mat, left knee in. Give it a little squeeze. Now before you let that left knee fall to the right, scoot the hips over to the left. And so now as you let the knee drop, you feel the outer right hip is what's kind of pushing into the ground. And then shoulders are relaxed. And then inhale to draw that knee through center. Give both knees a squeeze back into the chest, reset the hips. And then from here, give those knees one final big squeeze, so forehead to the knees, create a tight little. Open up, exhale, long legs onto the mat. Final rest here, just a few moments to just be, no movement, no nothing. Let the shoulders soften to the floor, hands wherever is comfortable. Keep breathing through the nose, but now it's natural, it's relaxed. It's whatever pattern it wants to be. And we'll just spend a few more moments here. Slowly start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. And then reach the arms overhead, full body stretch, like you're waking up in the morning. And then gently rolling over to your right side. Spend a moment or two there. It's more of a transitional position. And when you're ready, finding a comfortable seat. We'll keep the eyes closed for these last few moments. Hands anywhere that's comfortable, shoulders back and down, sitting tall. And before you open your eyes, just taking a scan of the body from toes all the way up to the top of the head. How do the hips feel? How does the back feel? Shoulders, neck. How does your brain feel? Gently opening the eyes. Thank you guys so much for coming into yoga. Hopefully after the open this week, those that maybe repeated it a few times, the soreness is feeling better. Or if we are going to try it again, we feel better after, maybe Friday. And so, yeah, really, really great today. Take this feeling with you, try to relax. And so we roll into this next week of training feeling really good, energized, both physically and mentally. So thank you guys, and I will see you next week. All right, thank you. Happy Sunday.